All right. Hello, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. This is DFS Army's NBA pre-lock show. We have a 9 slater on deck. We don't have a lot of time to waste, but I got my guy B-Dub here. We smashed it last night. We can't celebrate too much, but man, you have to kind of live in those moments when you have a really good slate because they're hit or miss. You get them like once or twice a month. And that was like one of those slates where just almost everything went according to plan besides Harrison Barnes, of course.
Hell of a night.
But today, like I said, we have a 9-gamer. Good to see y'all in the chat. Appreciate it. Value, that's going to be tough to find tonight, but we'll touch on some options. Starting off, we have the Spurs going up against the Magic. 236 total, 8-point spread. Spurs, the Magic aren't typically a team we like to pick on. They don't have any new injuries worth mentioning here. Brendan, how are you treating the Spurs tonight?
So first, I'll start by saying kind of what that question just was is help find value. If you didn't know already, value looks pretty rough right now, and we're still waiting on a lot of news too. So for right now, I'm taking a lot of shots on a bunch of these mid-range guys. So you'll kind of see that theme going throughout each game.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, typically don't like to pick on Orlando, but this is a decent game total.
Yeah.
And again, there's some mid-range guys that I wanted to take a shot on. On this side of the ball, wanted to take a shot on Keldon. He is very scary to play for sure, but he has 30 to 40 point upside and has been playing close to 30 minutes. So I put a 10% min on him. And then I'm going right back to Fox. I just love his price. The Magic have kind of been bleeding points to guards lately. So on a slate like this, 2% ownership with 50 to 60 point upside, definitely taking a shot there. I consider Vassell, but I don't want to go too crazy on this team, but he would be the third guy I would consider. And then definitely not chasing Harrison's ceiling game he had last night. Because I don't think he repeats that. I could be wrong, but not going to bet on that.
Yeah, Simodel likes him a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
But I'm with you. Same way, like I kind of knew last night, like if one of those Spurs guys popped off, I wasn't going to have him. There's not really many scenarios where I would have popped off on that play. And I feel similarly tonight, it wouldn't surprise me if one of these guys pop off, but they're on the back end of a back-to-back. I don't love the matchup. I do think there is upside in like a 8K Fox. Like he was pushing the upper 9s earlier, just like a week or so ago. But for me, as of right now, there's just not going to be any mins here. Just going to prioritize some other spots. Other side of this game, we have the Magic. The Spurs aren't really all that scary these days. We do know at this point from what we've seen with Paolo out that Franz pretty much does the same thing as usual, but it's really been Bane and Suggs who've really kind of taken that step up. From an injury news perspective for Orlando, let me see. I need to refresh here. Yeah, for Orlando, just, no new injury news, just Paolo's still out. Where are you landing with the Magic?
So, first play, and I know you guys aren't going to like it, but I have a 20% man on Goga. I know he screwed us big time last time being a late scratch, but when he does play, he is very solid. The only concern I ever have with him is his minutes. He usually plays right under 20 minutes. So that part is very concerning, but I do love this matchup. I love attacking the Spurs front court. I've mentioned it time and time again. Wemby's out, so this front court is much softer than it normally is. And with that 20% min, this is really going to make you guys throw up probably, but currently at 68% right now. So he's showing as a core play. But again, we have no value, so it is what it is.
Yeah, and you see that on slates like this.
Yeah. Anthony Black, I have a 15% min on. He's just in great form. And again, he's in that price range that I love tonight. So with the way he's playing right now, definitely want some exposure there. And then Suggs was the only other one I wanted to take a shot on, somebody else who's been fairly consistent. He's been kind of hovering around the 30 fantasy point range. So definitely need him to get 40 plus tonight. But against the Spurs, I think there's a high chance of it. And then going to continue to fade Franz. He needs 50 plus. He has only scored over 50 points twice so far this season. So not going there. And then I did consider Bane. He's been a little more consistent than Franz. Last two games, I think he's put up close to 55 fantasy points. So just with the way he's playing, I'm definitely not opposed if you guys wanted to go there, but I didn't force him in tonight.
Yeah, it's weird. Goga, he shows up for me in the domination station, which if you're not a member, click the link in the description, use promo code BEATUP, become a member, have access to the optimizer and the Discord, all the good stuff. And also like the video, even if you are a subscriber already. No one does that, but it's fine. Anyway, for me, I'm with you with a lot of the magic. Also, Semato likes these guys a decent amount. I tried to stay on the Franz train. I wanted to believe, but he's lost me. I'm no longer a believer, which means he'll probably pop off tonight. But I have a 10% min on Suggs. He's just someone who has benefited with Palo out. I like the matchup. I like the game environment enough. And even the price tag at 7,200 makes sense to me. So he's a 1.2 fantasy points per minute player right now. Like, that's insane, really, for even like a low 7K, upper 6K guy. So 10% min there. I like the Anthony Black min. I didn't have that, but I will follow you with that 20% min. Goga, I was worried about. I don't have a min on him, but he shows up naturally in 47% of my lineups. And I thought about capping him, but you have him as a core play. I like being around that 50% range. For me, if you went a little bit above that to like 60, 70%, I would cap it. But as long as he stays around 50-ish, I'm comfortable with it. That's decent leverage for a cheap guy when we don't have a lot of value on the slate. I don't want too much, just in case we do get some news. Yeah. Then I can late swap to some other options. But, it just depends on what happens with the injury news and when we get it. Next up, we have the Portland Trailblazers going up against the Cavs. And Portland tonight, they're not making it easy on us when it comes to making decisions because all of these guys are questionable, Brandon, unless we've gotten some of this news. But
still
we
waiting.
have Deni Avdija questionable. I think you all know at this point, he's freaking Deni Avdija. He's been really good this season and last season. Huge impact if he gets ruled out for this team. You're going to see a lot of these guys pop as core plays who you might not even know. Guys like Kamara, Sharp. There's more here too. Like Grant would even be way more viable. And then Donovan Clingan is also listed as questionable. Huge impact. We typically see Chris Murray. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, I think. But Murray kind of moves into the starting lineup typically, but even they have plenty of options here. They can switch things up if they want to. And then Chris Murray is listed as questionable as well. And all of the guys we've already mentioned, but I'll even add in like City, Sasko could also benefit a good amount too. And even Caleb Love. So yeah, all of these injuries, question marks, really just make things a little bit tough for me. But how are you attacking them right now?
Yeah, this is one of the teams that has some slate changing news if Avdija gets ruled out. So yeah, for now it's kind of hard to like this team too much, especially going against Cleveland, who will more than likely blow them out. I know we don't play for blowouts, but sometimes you just got to be real.
Sometimes you know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if I will play Avdija if he's in. I just don't like this spot enough. Sharp, I'm really only going to play if Avdija gets rolled out. He's going to be one of the best plays on the slate if that happens. Not getting the Clingan tonight if he plays. And then we'll have to see what they do at the 5 if he does get rolled out because they do some weird stuff sometimes. So honestly can't even predict what they would do there. And then Grant's kind of in the same boat. I'm letting the DS dictate how much of him I get. He is at a nice price, plays a ton, and showing up at 18%. So I'm okay being around field weight on him. And then Kamara, we loved him last night, going right back to him tonight. He's just doing a lot right now, playing a lot. Still at a great price, 5,300. Again, name of the game for me is mid range, so fits in perfectly. And I'm currently at 63%, so currently a core play for me. And then none of these turds will even be in consideration until we get the news on these questionable guys.
Yeah, this is a weird spot for me because a lot of the trends I follow with my process kind of point towards Portland tonight, even though my brain says that is stupid. You don't need to play these guys. But for me, I will play plays even if I can't explain why they make sense. If things like the sim, things like pace, things like projections are all kind of pointing towards playing them. So tonight, I don't love Denny, like you said, whether he plays or not. But some of the role players I'm more open to having exposure to. So a guy like Shaedon Sharpe at 6,400 is a freaking fantastic play if there's injuries. But if we don't get that news and they play, I still like being over the field on him, even in a tough matchup. Solid points per minute guy, only 3% owned. I'll have a 10% min on him. The other thing for me here is that this is the highest total game on the slate, and so I'm always trying to find reasons to play guys there for that reason as well. So Sharpe is someone I'll force exposure to either way. I have that 10% min on him right now. And then Kamara, as of right now, he's showing up as a core play for me. I'm not going to tinker with that too much. I don't think. He is pretty chalky at this point. I think I will cap him at 60%. I wouldn't hate capping him at 50. This is just a slate where I haven't really heard people talk about getting off of the chalk too much, which means I'm considering getting off the chalk a little bit. And then even Jeremy Grant, like no matter what happens here, I think our ownership's a little high. I'll just put a 10% min on him. No, I'll stick to it. I'll do a 15% min, get around field weight exposure there. And like you said, the rest of it, I'll just wait and see what happens with news and proceed accordingly based off of whoever ends up getting ruled out. For the Cavs side of things, they're the ones who are in this faster paced spot. So you would think that would make them interesting, but all of them are pretty low owned because I think everyone is really planning for the blowout here, especially if Denny Avdia gets ruled out. Jared Allen is still out. Sam Merrill is out. That's really the main pieces of injury news here. I know you're going to like some of these guys. Who are you looking at?
Yeah, really just two guys for me, and that's Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. Just put a 10% min on both of them, just due to their upside in the soft spot that they're in. Thought about Garland, but I didn't like him enough to force him in on a slate this size.
Yeah.
And then Jalen Tyson is somebody I love playing, but his price is going up, which rightfully so with the way he's been playing. I just decided to go elsewhere in that price range, but definitely not opposed if somebody wanted to play him. He was the only other one I was considering.
Man, I feel you. I feel like we've been playing Tyson a good amount, and it's been going pretty well. But I didn't look too close at it. I don't really know how Tyson's been doing when Garland plays, but I am a little concerned about that. It's the main reason I didn't put a min on him. But I pretty much did the same thing as you, 10% min on Mitchell, 10% min on Mobley, but I did add the 10% min on Garland. Scary if I'm still coming back from that injury. You never know how much he's really going to play, especially if this game blows out. But if it stays close, I don't hate taking a shot on it. So that was my plan there. Could Wade be sneaky value? I didn't get there, but did you think about Dean Wade at all?
No, he's such a low usage guy. I can't play him.
Yeah, I'm with you. Longwin, I agree with you, man. This is a tough one. Like, you love Jokic, speaking of him, but it's kind of like, how are you going to get there is really the hard part. But for Denver tonight, they have Jamal Murray listed as questionable. Have we got any updates on that situation, Brandon?
Yes, Murray and Jokic are available.
Okay, nice. So that makes this team a little bit more boring, but Aaron Gordon is out. Christian Brown is out, but those guys have been out for a decent amount now, so it's not new information. You taking any shots here?
I wasn't at first, but then I thought about the game environment, and it is the Pacers. So I wanted to take a couple shots here on some of the cheaper guys. Um, Peyton Watson is probably, I don't want to say my favorite play at all, but just on this team specifically,
Yeah.
he is. Uh, he's just been playing really well ever since Gordon and Brown have been out. And again, in that 5K range against the Pacers, I want some exposure at 5%. Cam Johnson is a very scary play, even more scarier than Watson.
Yeah.
But just trying to envision the way this game is going to go. Cam is a shooter. He's going to get some shots up. If he starts knocking them down, they're going to keep trying to find him. So just another low on risky play I wanted to take on a weird slate. And then Jokic, this isn't a slate for me to play him, even though he's in. Value is just a little too gross. Seen a few lines with him and just can't do it. And Murray's kind of in the same boat. He's somebody I usually love taking a shot on, but at 9K, I'm just going to pass on him tonight.
Yeah, it's just really the way this slate is shaping up. It's hard to get to these stud options who are in great spots, can definitely still break a slate, but we're not paying like 10,500 for Jokic anymore. If we were, I would take a risk. Even if he was 11K, I'd be like, okay, I'll put a 5% min on him. But 13,400, you just really have to hit on that value, and he has to have a slate breaking game with 9 games on it, and none of the mid range value guys can go off basically with those lineup builds, which isn't impossible, but it's just not the way I'm gonna play this slate either. Unfortunately, that's usually the way I like to do it, but I just couldn't find a way to. I'm with you on Watson. He's been good for this price range. It makes sense for this slate. I'm a Cam Johnson guy. I'm still a believer through and through, even though he's given me very few reasons to believe it. But his shooting form has been better. Don't look at the last game. Look past that. But his shooting form has been better outside of that last game over the last few games. So I also have a 5% min on him. I like that play. I thought about Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I was about to say I might throw a 5% min on him. I just saw Deep Ball's question, and I honestly overlooked him. He's had a couple back-to-back solid games, so he kind of falls in that same category for Cam. We know he's a shooter, and again, if his shot is falling for sure, 4,400 is he can be sneaky at 6%. So I'm taking a shot just because of the spot.
Oh yeah, that Chris Paul situation was a mess, man. That Chris Paul situation was a hot mess, but I can't wait for more information to come out about it. Yeah, you're right. Deep balls too. Like Joe Val's not crazy either at 3,800. I think he's a viable play. What are your thoughts?
I'm not against it. Let me see. I didn't force him in or anything. Yeah, I don't have any.
Yeah.
But again, it's a weird slate, so I mean, I don't think anything is too crazy at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you're just the way I think about it is you're probably taking the shots on those guys is probably 90% of the time not going to work out, and you're really trying to play for that 10% scenario where they do just enough, and whoever you end up paying up for goes off. So it's just like one tier more complicated than like some of the mid-range guys who you just need them to reach value. Next up, we have the Pacers side of this. And Indiana tonight, they are one of the healthier teams at this point. Nesmith is out, but a lot of these guys who are listed as out have been out for a while. So the situation here is you're probably not going to get a ton of the Pacers unless you force exposure to them. What's your thought process for taking like 10% exposure on some of these guys?
Yeah, so Nembhard is just a guy I love taking a shot on with 40 to 50 point upside, 6,300 fits and lines perfectly. Nice usage and points per minute guy, so willing to go there. Jarris Walker, another volatile value play, but again, we're like stretched pretty thin. So in a decent game environment, I'm just taking the shot there with the 10% man. Can't believe I'm doing this one, but I threw a 5% min on Siakam. Denver is bleeding a lot to forwards right now, especially since losing Gordon. They're weaker down low. So with all the attention on Anthony Davis, I just want a few lines to look a little different with someone in a similar range who's in a great spot. So at essentially no ownership, definitely don't mind 5% there. And then Jay Huff is another 5K guy who's just in great form and getting a lot of minutes at the 5. So 5% min there. And that's it for me. I thought about McConnell too, but I think last game he had like
5 minutes.
some soreness and was limited to like 6 minutes or something. So his playing time uncertainty with that is a little too risky for me tonight.
Yeah, I get it. For me, I have a 10% min on Nimbard. Thought about Mathurin, but couldn't talk myself into it. I don't love picking on the Nuggets too often. I just haven't had a ton of success with that strategy. And so I always get scared with Siakam. And you're right, they're bleeding points to forwards and even bigs, low key. But every time I see Siakam, like the first half of a slate, I'm like, fuck, man, I should have played him. He's going off. And then he does nothing in the second half. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess it was fine I didn't play Siakam. But a 5% min won't kill you. I like the spot enough where I'm willing to take that shot and no one's doing it. So that's going to be a hell of a play by you if that goes off. I do have a 10% min on McConnell. It is disgusting. I do think he won't see a ton of minutes here, but you can also play the opposite thought process of maybe it was a fluky game. He's not out. Maybe he'll go back to playing what he was before. He's got a little limp last time out. It's really just because we're desperate for value, and right now I'm trying to force some of these guys in. We did get the news that Trey Jones is out, though, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that definitely will help things a little bit.
Ayo Slate. I already boosted him up as a core play too.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed because you were well ahead of that, and you had Io showing up as like a core play for you basically. But if we got that news late, you would have been in a beautiful situation.
Yeah, I was hoping we would get that much later, but it is what it is.
Next up, we have the Clippers going up against the Hawks. And LA, they screwed over our boy Chris Paul. Bogdan Bogdanovic is out, and they have a matchup against the Hawks tonight in Atlanta. I see you didn't take a shot on Harden. I'm curious to get your thoughts here.
So I didn't put a min percent on him just because he was showing up naturally close to fill weight, which I told myself if he does that, then I'm just going to be okay with it.
Yep.
Because like last game, if you are playing the strip club narrative, he's in Atlanta tonight, so you can put 2 and 2 together.
The strip clubs are not that great in Atlanta. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. It's not that great. I think he knows this too, so I'm not worried about it. Not going to lie.
Yeah. So let me see where he's at. Yeah, right at 11%, so I'm good with that. Kawhi, 10% min, a leverage play for me. He's still only playing about 30 minutes, but he's been looking really good, especially last game. So in a spot like this, faster pace environment, definitely want some shots there. 8,100, 50 plus point upside. Kind of a no-brainer for me. Thought about Zoo, but couldn't get there. Thought about Collins, especially going against his former team, but he's just so up and down. I'm mostly down overall this season, so I couldn't get there with all the other 5K guys we have.
Yeah, his floor's risen a little bit. Like it's now in that 20 range. But I'm with you here. I mean, Harden for me is borderline leverage play tonight. I have a 15% min on him. I was close to doing 20. But you shouldn't need the min. He showed up for me naturally in about 17% of my lineups. I just did it because I wanted to make sure I didn't lose him. But you know what? I'll do a 20% min because I like it. And then I have a 10% min on Kawhi too. We've been on the Kawhi train for a while now. His price tags come up. It's not my favorite spot in the world, but I like being slightly over the field on him. I knew I was gonna get some reactions. People feel so strongly about their strip clubs in Atlanta. My friend, like, he's one who took me. He was like, "You gotta go, Josiah. You gotta go. Your mind's gonna be blown." I was like, "Yeah, it's all right, man. It's all right." Jalen Johnson downgraded.
Crazy.
Hey, timing was perfect on that though, man.
Yeah.
We're at the Hawks. They're going up against the Clippers. Typically not a team I like to pick on, but they already have Kristaps Porzingis out, which will have to, let's look at this a little bit closer. With Porzingis out and assuming Jalen Johnson's going to be out now, is there anyone that just kind of comes to mind for you? That we can also come back to this once things update a little bit more.
Value wise, I will say Gay's probably going to be the chalk of the slate if/when that happens. Shea will probably be in the mix too. Outside of those two plays, I guess you can throw V in there, but I'm never really a fan of going there.
Yeah.
But outside of Shea and Gay, I was already playing Naw and Dyson, so I have a 10% min on Naw and 5% on Dyson, and that's clearly about to go up. So just kind of wait for that news and let the DS do his thing there. And then Okongwu too. He's usually a smash play when Porzingis is out. He's going to be even more so with Jalen out. So definitely we'll have a decent amount of him tonight too.
Yeah. Jules, they posted it like 6 minutes ago that he was downgraded to questionable.
Yep.
I feel you, Long. I like Spider a bit more too. Appreciate you, Tattoo. Good to see you. And yeah, Showtime, I'm with you. I like Naw a good amount in this situation. Guys that we don't know where ownership's going to be. We'll touch back on it around 640 when we wrap back around. But I already know who I'm going to like a good amount. Guys like Dyson Daniels, nice increase in usage. That's really all my guy needs is a reason to be more aggressive. And I really like him a lot here in this spot. Naw has already been good, and he's just going to be even better without Johnson. And so he's going to be a priority for me. And then Okongwu, I like a bit more too. He wasn't super chalky at 10% ownership. I don't know if that will go up because I don't think people usually put that together if like a forward falling off. Okongwu steps up from like a aggressive standpoint and usage standpoint as well. But he's someone I want to continue to have exposure to. I think you're right. Guys like Shea and Gay will probably show up in more lines, but I'm just going to let the DS decide how much of them I get. But those three that I mentioned are the guys I'm going to make a priority. That I only like to force more exposure to when Shea is out, typically. So he could go off, but not my favorite guy here. Denny is available now. We did get that news, so that gives us some clarity. Klingon's available too. All right. Next up, we have the Hornets going up against the Knicks. Knicks are on the back end of a back-to-back. So if you're looking for a reason to play the Hornets, maybe that's one. But they're a hard team to look at. Brandon Miller is out, which means James will probably start once again. And that also does make guys like LaMelo, Knipple both see a nice increase in usage when he's out. Looks like you're only taking a shot on Sexton. What's your thought process there?
Yeah, he's just been playing solid minutes, and I usually like him a bit more when Miller's out. Last few games he's been getting close to 35 points. So if he can manage to get that on a night like tonight at 5,300, he'll definitely help some lines out. So nothing major, just a little sprinkle, 5%. I did think about Knipple as well, just because he's usually solid with Miller out as well, but I just didn't get there in this matchup at 6,700.
Yeah, I did like a quick double check trying to find a reason to play these guys, but I can't. Matchup's just too tough. Even with the Knicks on the back of a back-to-back, they're still a good defense, played a relatively slow pace. So I don't think it's crazy to take a shot on Ball or Knipple, but or even the centers here as just like a relatively cheap option in the mix along with like Goga. I don't hate that. There's another center I'm already double the field on that we haven't got to yet, but I am going to put a 5% min on Diabot and Ryan Kalkbrenner just as like two other relatively value centers in the mix alongside Goga. Just kind of covering more bases there and makes me feel a little bit better attacking the Knicks there on the back end of a back-to-back. Going over to the Knicks are without Mitchell Robinson tonight, which is a slight boost to the bigs, and then OG's been out for a while now. Hornets are still a team we can pick on here. Who's standing out for you?
Yeah, I'm pretty much playing the starters outside of McBride, which I did consider McBride. I'm still on the fence. If anything, he'll be a 5% man, but Cat has not been good at all.
He's been so bad.
So bad. This matchup is extremely soft. So yeah. I'm hoping he can pull it together tonight, finally. Brunson, definitely like him more than Cat still. So I feel a little better, like single entry wise, playing Brunson. I don't know if I can trust Cat in single entry. Mikal Bridges, just another guy in that mid-range price I want some exposure to in a soft matchup. And Josh Hart, I almost didn't consider, but I'm not going to let his down game last night throw me off. He had a hell of a half, but just didn't do anything the second half. So hoping he can bounce back tonight too.
And you took a shot on Bridges. I love that. Yeah. Bridges came through at 2% ownership last night.
He did.
I was sitting there in the night. I was
I'm glad I followed you on
anything last night, and it was just because of Harrison Barnes. But Cat, I have a 15% min on. I trust him a decent amount. I know he sucked, but he'll get back eventually, and I'll keep playing him if he's gonna stay low owned. Brunson, I don't really love playing in soft matchups, but I understand the play. 10% min on Josh Hart, 10% min on Bridges. Still, kind of like what you mentioned, they do a little bit of everything for this team. And as long as they have a shot falling and they stay aggressive, I like it. Boom. Jalen Johnson confirmed out. Love it.
Changes a lot.
It does. It reshapes the landscape a little bit. Still no like extreme value, but gives us some options. Next up, we have the Nets going up against the Bulls. Bulls are not known for their incredible defense, but, still not a team I'm afraid of. The problem here is Brooklyn, and they just play everybody. Terrence Mann is out still, which means Tyrese Martin moves back into the starting lineup. What are you doing with these Nets?
Only one I forced him was MPJ. I love the matchup. He has 60-point upside, so have a 10% min there. Claxton, you don't have to do anything for. He's another guy who's in a great spot. Bulls bleed points almost everywhere, but they definitely have down low as well. So he's in a great spot, and currently at 70%. And then everybody else, I was just going to let the DS dictate. I just hate the way this team plays their rotations. All these guys are hard to trust. So let me see if anybody else is showing. Demon at 7%, Sharp at 1%, and Clowney and Powell at 1% as well. So not getting too much of these other guys. Main focal points will be MPJ and Claxton.
Yeah, you can call me an MPJ hater, but I really don't want to pay $8,400 for him. He's been great. I'll give it to him. He's been really good this season.
Yeah. Yep.
But screw that. And y'all know, like last night's slate, I was willing to play 99% Maxey, 99% Bagley, like random stuff like that. But if I don't love or even really just like a play too much, I will cap it. And so Claxton not doing anything to him shows up in 99% of my lineups. I don't need that on tonight's slate. So I put a 60% cap on him. I'll still be double the field. So I don't hate him or anything like that because, like you mentioned, it's a really soft spot. I'm not going to have 99% of Claxton, who has burned me so many times. And then like you, I have a nice mixture of some of the other guys here, like Edgar Dimon. Sharp is showing up around like 10% exposure. MPJ showing up in one lineup, so I'll allow that. And then Clowney's also showing up in one lineup, but these guys just aren't going to be a priority for me on this slate, just given the total. And like you said, they just have a very deep rotation, and a guy or two gets hot. Typically, that's just the way it works with the Nets. I just know I have no idea who it's going to be, and so I'm going to try and get value other places and just build a stronger lineup overall. So we'll see what happens. The Bulls have the matchup against the Nets, which also isn't incredible here lately for them. The Bulls, though, do have injuries that keep things interesting. Kobe White is out. Trey Jones is out. Okoro is out. Kevin Huerter is out, which really all leans towards your guy popping off. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, you mentioned it before, but I was already leaning towards Trey Jones sitting, so I actually unchecked him because he was actually showing in quite a few lines. So unchecked him and threw a love on AO to make him a core play. So I'm at 80%, and I'll be debating if I want to take that off and just kind of go like all the way in with him. Probably not just because of the size of the slate, but I am thinking about it. Buzelis, I just added a 5% min on, just due to he should get more usage with Trey out and potentially more minutes as well. He's been very volatile so far throughout the season, so risky play, but knowing his potential in this matchup, I'm definitely taking a shot. Giddey, his price is hard to stomach on a night like tonight, but triple double upside, 6% ownership. I'm playing him. And then I did consider Vooch. Why not? I'm gonna throw a 5% min on him too. So I just like that 7,600 price tag on him. He's usually over 8K, so it is nice to see that it is dropping some. And then that is it for me.
Yeah, so I just refreshed the DS and did a new run, not doing anything to the Chicago team yet because we didn't have the news. And Io Dosunmu shows up in 96% of my lineups. Screw that. I like him, but again, that's just way too much for me. And I don't think Io's a bad play. I just don't trust him because there's still a lot of talent on this team. So I put a 30% cap on him. You like him though, so I'll do a 40. I'll do a 40% cap just to still give me a little bit of leverage over the field here. I just don't want him as that much of a priority. I really like Buzelis here. With all the injuries they have, he's someone that I think should take on a bigger role offensively tonight. So he's someone I want to make a priority. That 15% min does make him a bit of a leverage play. I don't think his ownership will go up too much, I hope. And I'm with you on Giddey. I get the price tag's tough, but it's not 13,500 tough. So I have a 12% min, just kind of forcing myself to be over the field. 5% min on Vooch. Just another center to add in the mix who has upside, just not the most consistent. And then that's pretty much it for me. I am considering allowing a little bit more IO. I don't know. I'm going back and forth on it. Why are you so high on him again?
Because again, he's probably going to play close to 40 minutes at 5,800, and he does have good upside. So
should he show up in 99% of my lineups?
Say what?
Should he show up in 99% tonight?
I mean, I understand why. Like it's the Nets. Like there's a world where he can fail, but he's just in too good of a spot for me, at least. So.
All right. Core play it is 99%. We'll roll with it.
I didn't say 99%. I might keep mine on 80%.
Nope.
If it was a smaller slate, I feel a little more comfortable doing that, but I don't like going all in on non-gamers or more.
I get it. We'll see if projections adjust as we make more changes throughout the slate. But as of right now, I'm just going to trust the DS on it. You like them. The DS likes them. That's enough for me. Next, we have a pretty gross game here. We have the Kings going up against the Rockets. Kings are relatively healthy. Dennis Schroeder's questionable. So, if he's out, a boost to Monk and some of the other guards here. But I don't like these guys. Do you?
I tried my hardest to find one reason to play anybody here, and I could not do it.
Yeah, I'm so glad the Kings are on the West Coast, and I rarely have to ever think about them. It's beautiful. For the other side of this game, we have the Rockets. Houston, they have no real injury news here. Do you like anyone from Houston tonight?
Not really. You can make an argument for any one of these guys tonight. KD, Şengün, Amin, we know the upside they have. Even Shepherd, which he's a little bit harder to play with. He's not playing as much minutes as he was before. So don't know if I can go there at 6,200, but it's a super soft matchup. If there was a game to blow out, I feel like this one is for sure. The Kings are just so bad right now, and the Rockets typically don't play their starters through blowouts, so I can see a lot of these guys sitting early, so couldn't really force anyone in here, and don't think the DS is giving me any Rockets either. Nope.
Yeah, I do have a 5% min on Şengün and KD. I don't have too many mins today, so I'm okay with it just because of the relatively soft matchup. But I'm with you. I think this game gets ugly pretty fast. And KD's up there in age, so if they can save his energy, you got to save his energy. Next up, we have the Pistons going up against the Bucks. For the Pistons tonight, Detroit, they have Duncan Robinson listed as questionable. And they're going up against a relatively slow-paced team in the Bucks. Do you like anyone here? Looks like maybe a little bit of Tobias Harris.
Yeah, I was going back and forth on him, but he's been fairly solid since coming back. It's 5,100, a guy who can get you 30 to 40 points.
Yep.
I'm taking my shot there in this spot, and then only other one I'm playing is Cade, 5% man. Again, that price is tough, but another guy with triple double upside, and he's not Jokic tough, so we can make lines work with him as well.
Yeah.
Thought about Azar and Duran too, but this is kind of where I got to the point where I had to be a little more picky based on the other spots I'm playing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll take a shot on Cade. I wasn't on that beforehand, but I still like to play. And I've tried enough with Asar. I can't do it anymore. Duran, I just don't like the matchup too much. A little bit tougher against the Bucks. For Milwaukee, they are pretty healthy. Going up against a pretty good Pistons defense. Anyone stand out for you here?
Nope, this was another team that was pretty easy for me to fade. Definitely not playing Giannis. He just hasn't been looking that great lately. And I don't know if you saw the news earlier, but it could be nothing again like it normally is. But I know they're talking about his future with the team. So, yeah. So he could be on his way out somewhere else. And I just don't like playing guys in that situation. And he's kind of been battling injuries too. So he's definitely at that price point where I don't want tonight. And then I guess if you wanted to play somebody, it would be KPJ. He was solid before he got hurt. We saw last game where he just went crazy. If it was a smaller slate, I would definitely take a shot, but just not something I'm chasing in this spot.
And I think I've kind of hit the same thought process of some of our members here, where I just like forcing exposure to these late games these days. So I have a 5% min on Giannis and a 10% min on KPJ. Sim model likes Kevin Porter Jr. once again tonight too, and so I'm just gonna follow that train and 5% min on Giannis, 10% on KPJ. Call it a day. Now we have the game of the slate. We don't have too much time to break it down, but who's standing out for you from Miami? And we know we love these Miami games, man. So for Miami, there you have Norman Powell out, and then Pelle Larsson's questionable. That matters a bit less. Powell out gives all of these forwards a boost. Think Hero, Wiggins, Fontecchio, list goes on. the real question is who's not showing up for you, and who are you
Yeah,
bumping exposure
I'll
to?
just keep it short since we're kind of running low on time. But I pretty much want everybody on this team essentially. I have mid 10%. Actually, I'm gonna change that to 15. 15% men on Jaquez, 10% men on Hero, 10% men on Mitchell. Drew Smith was showing a little bit. Don't love that, but stretched on value. And then definitely taking a shot on Bam.
Yep.
Keep saying it time and time again. Love attacking this Dallas front court. He's cheap too, so would be a leverage play for me. And 5% men on Ware too for the same reasons. And Powell is out, so his minutes should be a little more secure tonight. So
yeah, I like those. I like those men's. I have a 20% min on Bam Adebayo. He's a leverage play for me tonight. Soft matchup here against Dallas. I like this game environment. I like the pace, and I love playing Bam when he's low owned. That mixture makes it an easy leverage play for me there. And then I'm trying to think. I think I have the same men's. I increased it on Ware. I wasn't on him, so I like that call. I'll put that 5% min there. And then, did you do anything to Andrew Wiggins, or does he just show up for you by himself?
let me double check. He was showing up close to Phil Wade. If not, I'm gonna put him in on him too. Yeah. Not my favorite play, but I just like this spot too much. So I'm gonna throw a 20% min on him.
Yep, I did the same. All right. Next up, we have the other side of this game, Dallas. And they don't come without their questions. PJ Washington is questionable. Gafford is questionable. How are you attacking them?
AD, you don't have to do anything to. He looked great last game. Love seeing him under 9K. We just got news PJ's out, so
Boom. Even
I
better.
guess I'm gonna throw 5% on flag. I wasn't playing him at first. I was waiting for that news, so we'll have some flag. I'll do 10% actually. And then Nemhard is another value play tonight, 4,400. He's been getting more run over Brandon Williams and D'Lo. He was shown as a core play for me earlier, but let me see. I'm still getting a lot, 50%. So that is very scary, but I love this game so much, and the minutes he's seeing, I'm probably gonna run with it, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, AD's showing up in 95% of my lineups, and I'm okay with that. Like you said, he's a glass cannon. It's scary, but I like the spot. I like the pace. I'm not going to overthink that. I love it. And then Cooper Flag's a leverage play for me tonight. I have a 15% min on him. The injuries just make it sweeter and sweeter. But I will play you guys in matchups against Miami because they play at such a fast pace. It's a no-brainer for me. So that's it. I didn't force him in on anyone else. Ryan Nimbard is showing up in 53% of my lineups. I don't think I love that. What are your thoughts on him? He should play a lot of minutes.
Yeah, I'm just rolling with it. He's showing up over 50 for me too. We didn't get more value from Portland like I was hoping, but I like the situation, so I'm going to take the chance, especially at 7% ownership. If he smashes, we'll be sitting pretty at the end of the night.
Yeah, I capped him at 50. I can't do much more than that, but I agree. This is a spot that makes sense with the lack of value we have. So that's going to be it, y'all. No shows. Rest of the week, have a work event. I will be on a football show literally in 10 minutes, but I wish you all luck tonight. Hope we can celebrate in the chat. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions in the Discord. Peace out, y'all.